All right, guys. As usual, we start with a big smile and a laugh, and that's a good thing. So welcome week one to CE225, right? This is the sixth block of the year. So CE225 entrepreneurship. This basically means that all the core classes that you guys have done so far is all going to be combined in the next 6 weeks, all right? So basically, you will have a complete understanding when you finish this block about both the menu designs, the food and beverage costing. You will know about the scheduling and how it affects, how you can compare it to your revenues. We're going to do revenue assumptions. We're even going to make a profit and loss statement. We're going to talk about the percentages of food cost, labor cost, what overhead is, and how much should hopefully be left for profit. We're even going to talk about how we can make some little tweaks and make some profit here and there, right? I always make the same jokes about I'll find a way to pay for your lease on your car and your cell phone pretty damn easy. I guarantee you, okay? We're just going to be smart, do little tweaks here and there. So just so you guys are aware of it, I have owned restaurants with my own money that I built from the ground up, actually. So I know both about what's inside the walls in terms of electrical, in terms of gas. I've installed hoods, had them balanced, fire suppression systems. So I'm pretty much versed in all that. And then, of course, how do you make profit on your menus? How do you make profit with your food, right? Your standardized recipe costings, right? All that jazz. We're going to talk about that this week. So, this block. So I know I told you guys back when that standardized recipes and recipe costings are the absolute most important thing you can do, right, in restaurants. So we are going to talk about standardized recipes and costing them out in this block, just like you guys did in the CE125, right, in food and beverage costing. We are going to talk about labor, and we're going to make schedules. Okay, so we're going to make labor assumptions. Now, in this on this template in the CE225, there is on the profit and loss statement on week 5, there is actually even a check sort of figuring out if your labor is where it needs to be, even your salary and your hourly employees. Okay, so we're going to talk about all that a lot more in depth. Okay, so you know what I tell you every time, if you have questions, please send me your questions, okay? Don't be quiet, not more than usual. Okay? Reach out to me, okay? If you have anything that sort of seems to be, you have question marks about it, make sure that you reach out early so we can get stuff taken care of, all right? As I'm telling you guys, and I know that you guys know this because we've all had a class together. I have my online policies that are posted in the beginning of the class, right? Basically, behave and submit on time. That's basically what I'm asking for. I still have the same policy. If you submit early, I do everything I can to grade them as soon as I can. And it gives you the opportunity to resubmit with the adjustments from my comments, okay? That still stands. I think that is, I think it gives a secondary learning objective or opportunity from doing so. So please do that. I do it the most that I can and as soon as I can. I don't forget you guys, but sometimes it gets last minute, but I do everything I can to do it as soon as I can. All right. Still the same things, that your discussion forums, right? The initial post is due Saturday, 11:59, okay? And the 2 replies are due Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. All right? Sorry, just give me a second. Here we go. I hope it's right. Okay, so that hasn't changed, right? The discussion forums is still Saturday for the discussion forum, and then Tuesday for the 2 replies. Now, There are only going to be 2 discussion forums in these next 6 weeks, okay? And it happens to be that my absolute favorite discussion forum, ethics. Remember that one, Mark?
Oh, yeah. This one, very funny.
So it actually happens to be really the discussion forum that I enjoy the most is actually on ethics, because I think nobody is answering anything wrong in that discussion forum, but we all have different opinions about it. All right. So as you know, I love discussion forums because I get to know you better. Okay. And in this one, I just want to let you know that since it is my really favorite discussion forum, it's probably the one where I'm going to be the most sort of devil's advocate. Okay. It's never me wanting to tell you that you're wrong in any way, because it's not. Okay. But I just like to poke in there because I think I can always find a scenario where it will be okay or where it will not be okay. All right. So just know this. I absolutely love this discussion forum. All right. It might be the honorary side of me. I don't know where that came from, but I love this one. Okay? So just so you know. Then there are students that have had issues with the book, the Walker. Sorry about that. I just practiced all this, and now it doesn't serve much of a purpose. The restaurant concept from Concept to Operation, that by Walker. There are some students that have been wanting to print it out. I just want to let you know that it is possible to do, but you have to open it with that with the Vita Source bookshelf download thing, and it'll only allow you to print 30 pages at a time. Okay, but you can print the first 30, go to, from 31 to 60, print those pages out, et cetera, and you can print out the book. And if anybody actually is interested, the Vital Source bookshelf will actually as well read it out loud to you if you do want so. There's no doubt that the way that it reads it makes Siri sounds like a goddess. It is very robotic, but it actually does do it for you. So if anybody needs to do so, it is possible. Okay, but straight from the portal, I haven't had any success myself trying to print it out. All right, so just so you guys know, but it is possible to do. So today the topic in this ethic, is going to be basically Bob is the head chef at Jake's Bistro, owned by Jake Jones. Bob uses Cisco and US Food as his major suppliers. The Cisco rep comes in for his weekly meeting, and at the end of the meeting, he throws 2 tickets on the table. The tickets are for the Super Bowl, all expenses paid, plus the flight. The Cisco rep says, "Here's for good clients." All right. So basically, it asks for you guys to put yourself in Bob's shoes. I can see Marcus already laughing. He's getting flashbacks. Okay. So first of all, is it legal? All right. Second is, does it hurt anyone? Third is, am I being honest? Fourth, would I care if it happened to me? Fifth, does it compromise my freedom as a buyer in the future? Okay. And last but not least, would I publicize my actions? So, open mic. What would you do in Mike's shoes? Somebody comes in, throws some tickets on the table with the plane tickets. Do you think it's legal? What do you guys think?
I don't know why it wouldn't be legal, but I would definitely question why he was doing that. I mean, are sales that bad that he has to offer incentives to buy?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Okay. What do you think, April? Is it legal?
I would think right off the bat that it would be legal, but I'm thinking there's probably something that I'm not aware of that for a reason why it's not.
Sure. So I can tell you that if you're a government employee, it is strictly illegal. If you own your own business and somebody drops those tables on the not if you own your same, but let's say, and you know, I'm playing this devil's advocate, right? Let's say Bob runs this restaurant because Jake lives in Costa Rica and he never comes, right? He just owns it, right? The profit ultimately goes to Jake, but Bob is actually running it. Why wouldn't Bob take the tickets, right? There's nothing in the law says that you can't receive a gift from anywhere, right? What do you have to do though if you receive a valuable gift? What do you have to do?
You have to claim it on your taxes, don't you?
There you go. That's simple, right? So if you work for the military, if you work for a school, if you work for the government in any way, shape, or form, you cannot receive gifts, right? But is it illegal? Otherwise, if you're not directed to not do it, it is not illegal by law, okay? We can receive gifts, but you have to declare the value of the gift and pay taxes on it, all right? So does it hurt anyone? What do you think? What do you think, Aurelio? Julio, do you think it hurt somebody?
Well,
same job.
Let's take Julio first, and then we'll have you, Lucia.
what I think is we were talking about the ethics, right? If, for example, I'm the chef de cuisine where I work right now, and I got a lot of offers from either US, Cisco, but I never take them because that can affect me, my reputation, because they can take advantage of me, right? Or get me in trouble with the owner. I don't get in touch with those kind of things if the owner doesn't agree with that, right? But if I were the owner, I still maybe accept those offers or those gifts from the companies, because I still maybe buying a lot of money from them, and I think that's a gift. But if I'm just an employee, I won't take it.
Yeah.
So I think it's not illegal to take it, but it's not correct if you're just an employee and not the owner.
Yeah.
No.
It seems not because he's the client that he have to do so, because the return of your business to a produce company will be more to express their pleasure to work with you and to still working with you, is more giving you good prices rather than some robbery somehow.
Sure.
Yeah. And
what did you think, Alicia?
Well, we've been in that situation before where there's two companies that we work for, like the same company, but one gives a gift to one side, like say for instance, master's tickets. They give us the master tickets, but the other side would take the tickets, which means that this one manager feels that they feel that we've done all the work, but another manager takes the tickets. So they feel as though that's not correct because they didn't do any of the work to get the tickets, but they're the ones that's taking the tickets and they're not sharing. So that's unethical to me, because that's unfair, where you're taking something that you didn't actually earn. You're just taking it because you feel as though, well, I'm over everybody, so I should just take them because.
Sure. So,
but,
I think you actually brought up, you actually even answered 1.5 questions actually. So does it hurt does it hurt anyone? It potentially very well.
Most definitely. And then also, yeah, we also have it have policies depending upon where you get those items from. You
Yep.
can only get a 20. If you can get a week.
So you cut out on us. So
You can only get
yeah.
25.
Yeah. So now, I think some of what you just said, right? And Julio, you said this is ethics, right? So would I publicize my actions, right? I think if you have second thoughts about wanting to publicize it, it is, or because you say, I don't want everybody to know because they're going to be jealous and ultimately it's going to make my life miserable, right? Or you might think maybe there's some strings attached, right? Because ultimately that's one of the questions, right? Right? Does it compromise my freedom as a buyer? That means that something comes with strings attached, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, right now, ultimately, one of the things that you mentioned as well was, is Bob the client of Cisco or is Jake? Who signs the check? I think whoever signs the check is the customer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bob is not signing the check. But as I said, let's say Bob is the head chef at Jake's Bistro. It's owned by somebody else, but so is Olive Garden down the street, right? That's owned by somebody, but there's obviously somebody running it, and it's not the owner, right? So what if it was the front of the house manager that got a case of wine for free from the sales rep? I know it doesn't have it all the same value. It doesn't necessarily have it, but we could turn it around and think that too, right? So now comes the word honest, right? We're talking about ethics, honest. Would Bob be honest if he took the tickets? He could be.
No, I think he could share. He can go, and if it's something that you can actually share with, you can actually go and give half. Let them go one day, you can go one day, or you can go half a day, and the other one can go half a day. That way you can make them feel better about what you're doing. If you were going to do something like that.
But what if Bob told Jake that he got the tickets? Then he'd be honest, right?
Yeah.
If he took the tickets and didn't say anything, it was just between him and the sales rep. Should something ever spill, right?
That's not fair.
Yeah. Okay. So does it compromise my freedom as a buyer? I think we almost already said what we had to say, but didn't say it verbally that was what it was. But if there's strings attached, what do you think? Do you think?
But I think most of them do that, especially if they're working. I've had, like, the catering company that I work for is a really exclusive catering company in this area, and she had a ticket. She bought so much product from them that they actually gave her a ticket and all expense paid trip to England.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't surprise me. I just want you guys to be completely and fully aware that this is not 2 tickets with planes for a little restaurant might sound a little excessive, right? But
Yes.
if anybody around here can tell me that in Phoenix, on the golf course, there is not an exponentially large amount of doctors, right? Then we're fooling each other. This exists all over the place, okay?
It does, because even the company the place where I work at now, I tend to see when we're doing recipes, we do our recipes on the basis that we're buying product so that they can buy in bulk to get monies back from the company that they're buying the bulk from.
Absolutely.
So we're building our recipes around the products that they can get monies back off of.
Sure, absolutely. So Now I'm going to let the cat out of the bag because I can. Spoiler alert, okay? To me, this discussion forum, the main reason for this discussion forum is if you have expectations for your employees, you need to communicate them to your employees, what they can and cannot do. Does that make sense? So if an employee signs a handbook that says you cannot accept gratuities or gifts of $50 or more in value, then the employee knows exactly what to do if this offer comes along on the table. They know to decline it, right? If they do take it, well, then there's grounds for dismissal and you don't have to pay for unemployment because they sign a piece of paper in which they acknowledge that they had gained the knowledge as what they could and could not do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically, guys, if you're opening up a business that has even one employee, you need to have an employee handbook. All right? If not, it will come back and it will bite you in the tush. I guarantee you. All right? So don't lose your business and get sued over or have to pay unemployment for an employee that does not deserve to receive unemployment. And then it's a burden on your financials just because you didn't write a handbook. That makes sense? So this is actually ultimately, to me, why this discussion forum is so important. It is all about making it obvious that if you have employees, you have a responsible towards the employee and you have responsibilities towards your business. And of course, you got to save your business so people have to know what your expectations are. All right. So this is why I really, really enjoyed the discussion forum. Okay. Don't think it doesn't happen. This might be a little bit excessive, but you might want to know. But don't say that this is unacceptable to accept these tickets necessarily under every circumstance. I can come up with a scenario that might sound realistic, in which case it might be acceptable to take these tickets. Okay, so but ultimately, you never want to do something that might cost you your job, right? Because 2 tickets to the Super Bowl in an airplane might not be worth your employment. Let's put it that way. All right, so keep that in mind, okay? So this is why I like this discussion forum.
Yeah. Well, I will just add that in United States probably it is the case, but in France, because we have a disloyal competition law, and because it seems to be a bribery or it seems to be disloyal within the other, it will be legal anyway, and nobody will take it. But you can go to sue, you can go to justice for that.
Yep.
Straight.
Yeah, it's not necessarily an easy thing, and this is why I like the topic, because it is not an easy topic. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Then I want to show with you guys real quick the template. So the template is found if you go here on the CE225 entrepreneurship, right? The current one, and you go down here. This is the business plan template. You're going to download it, and it'll look exactly like this, okay? So if you look down here on these tabs, we have week 1, week 2, week 3. So some weeks have 1 tab, some weeks even have 3, all right? So in week 1, what we're going to ask you guys to do is to enter the name of your business, all right? You're going to enter here in business-ship ownership. You can put in sole proprietor, you can put in an LLC, partnership, whatever you think your business is going to be. Type of operation, restaurant, bakery, fast food, food truck, whatever you might think that you're going to do, okay? The number of days that you open per week. If you open only for breakfast 5 days a week, it'll say 5. If you open up lunch breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 7 days a week, it'll be 7, okay? Hours of operation, when you expect to open the doors, when you expect to close them. I really, really do not, for the most part, when it comes to restaurants, recommend that you close between 2 and 5 because staff is already there. Should you be lucky enough to sell 3, 4 hamburgers, during that time, you actually sort of paid for the labor that the employee spent between 2 and 5. The cook in the back, right? You might actually end up paying for his time working with just a couple of tickets. So it doesn't cost you anything to be open because you're going to have staff getting ready, right? Cleaning down or turning down from lunch and getting ready for dinner. So staff is there. Might as well get a little bit of business out of it. Good for you. So you're going to have to put here in a description of your summary, okay? So it's a description of your concept summary, okay? This will be the story that you're going to tell. What is your dream? What is it that you want to do, okay? The description, here your concept summary, might sound a little intimidating, but ultimately remember that this is your dream, right? This is your dream that we're talking about. So you should already have an idea about what could very well be in it, okay? There we go. Oops, sorry.
How long should that summary be?
Usually, it should probably be about 1.5 pages to 2 pages at the most. Okay, so 3, 4, 5 good paragraphs. Okay. Now, the mission statement, on the other hand, can be fairly short. The mission statement just have to answer 3 questions. Who are you? What are you doing? And who are you doing it for? You can or list A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, or you can make it into a sort of a medium-sized paragraph that just explains who you are, what is your target audience, and this is how I'm going to do it. Okay, so the mission statement is a lot shorter. It's like your elevator speech for your concept summary. Okay, location. Location is obviously important. Without the location, you cannot do your demographic. All right, the demographic, of course, is crucial. So even if you plan on making your restaurant in a different location than where you're at now, you gotta find the demographic for the location that you're planning on opening, okay? So in the demographic, it should include most of what's there, if not all of it. You might even find something ultimately that is interesting on top of this, and you can add to it. Okay. The demographic is, of course, primarily a local, but if you're in a very touristy area, you might want to go and see the all the tourist information, et cetera, and figure out, because they've done some research on where do people come from, what is their median income, how much do they spend in average when they're here. Those are interesting concepts in your demographic. Obviously, and that is if you're in an area that relies on people coming from the outside. All right, does that make sense? So your demographic can include this, but it can be more. You can as well take some of them out if they're not relevant to what you're doing. And then underneath there, it says, is this the target demographic or is this your location demographic? So let's say us people up here in Colorado, we have quite a lot of people that move here. We have quite a lot of people that come here on vacation. For example, or if you're by the beach somewhere and you're at destination beach, people from the inland might come out and spend time on the beach. Wherever it might be, if you have a ski resort, clearly your demographic is not going to be the population around you. They will be for part of the summer, right? But in January, February, and March, I bet you the people that live in Vail are not paying all the bills for everybody that works in Vail, right? We have people from the outside that come and spend money. So here, this is where you're going to say, you can very well, let's say a ski resort say, our peak seasons are from there and there. 80% of the customers are, flown in for vacation, and 20 might be local. But we pay special attention to the locals because they sustain our business the other 8 months of the year. Okay. Style of service. So if it's a food truck, it's a food truck. If it's a fine dining, that's what it is. If it's a bakery, that's what it is. Casual, casual dining. Whatever you think your specific project is going to be. All right. Now this one here is one of my favorite, the marketable features. If you open a restaurant, it is absolutely crucial for you to find something to talk about in your restaurant. It can be art on the walls. It can be you as a chef. It can be the decor. It can be one of the dishes that you're making is something that you want to advertise. It doesn't necessarily have to be gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, that sort of thing. It can be locally sourced. It can be whatever you would Facebook or Instagram about. What do you do that you can market out to people? Okay, that is crucial, right? If you want to run a healthier cuisine, then that's something that you can market. Okay, so but it is very important to find something that you can talk to people about, that you do something that will make it worth for people to pay attention. I used to, in Denver, I was a chef at a hotel. I put bees on the roof, honeybees on the roof in downtown Denver, for the simple reason, other than I love bees, I wanted to have a marketable feature that nobody else around was exploiting, right? It was one thing, it cost me $1,400 to feed 4 beehives on the roof, and I probably got over $30,000 worth of advertisement from the Eater and the Denver Business Journal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You see? But I made a story out of it. So it's up to you to find something that you can market. It's very important. Marketing done right does not have to cost a lot of money. You just got to be smart about it. Does that make sense? So, figure out what it is that you can do and then just push it. All right. So the seating capacity. Now, I recommend, just for ease of math, right, to do a 100-seat restaurant. Why do I like a 100-seat restaurant? Because one seat is 1%. That makes sense? Now, so don't do a restaurant that has 27 seats, okay? Do 25, do 33, do 50, do 100. Do numbers that helps you out when you do the math. It makes it a lot easier, okay? Doing some oddball number that is a little bit harder to calculate. It basically just, I think it just makes it harder for yourself when you do that, okay? The estimated covers for lunch. So this is, let's say I have my 100-seat restaurant. How many covers do I think I'm going to serve for lunch? Do I do one turn, 100? Do I do a little bit less? Because where my location is at, lunch is not a very good, it's not necessarily very good for lunch. Or am I smack downtown in the business district and I usually serve 200 covers a lunch? Okay, that's for you guys to decide. If you're in a place where a lot of people do a lot of outdoor activities, chances are your lunches might not be all that good because people are out doing what they are there for, okay? However, then that might be a benefit for dinner because you might make a lot more covers for dinner, right? Because people come back, now they're tired, now they want to eat, and now they're going to spend some more money. And you are better off having dinner covers than lunch covers because there's an average dinner cover is always higher than an average lunch cover. I mean, when I say always, majority of the time, right? So estimated check average for lunch, okay? What I suggest you do is, and you already made your menus, right, in CE185, take all your lunch items, tally them up, make a total, and then divide them by the amount of lunch covers you have, and it'll give you a dollar amount. That would be your average lunch check, okay? The average lunch check is for one person. It is per person, not a table of 4. It is just for one individual, okay? And then you're going to do the same thing for dinner. You're going to do the same thing for the average for dinner. And then when it comes to the drinks, I recommend that you do about a drink and a half an average per person, right? I know that there are people who come for lunch and have just a glass of water, but they'll make, the guy that comes for dinner and have 2 beers or 3 beers will make up pretty easily, all right? And then the average drink prices, you can do the same thing as you did to find your lunch averages and your dinner averages. Tally them all up and divide them. If you're known for being a wine bar, destination restaurant, well, then chances are your average drinks are probably going to be $8.50 to $12.50, maybe $14.50, depending on where you're going at. If you sell well drinks, it might be $4.50, $5.50. If you're a fine cocktail place, right? Could be $12.50 to $16.50, $18.50 maybe, right? So that's up to you guys to decide what you're going to be. If you're not selling alcohols, okay, then of course I'd always recommend make sure that you get some sort of finer kinds of juice, that sort of thing. For example, Laura, you want to make something that primarily is going to be to go maybe in the airport or something like that. You obviously don't just want to sell $1 bottles of water. You want to try to do some fancy juices, mixes, something that maybe you can sell for $3.50, $3.75, $4.25, something like that, right? I mean, you want to push something, right? You want to be able to make a markup that people want to pay for. Okay, so this is what's required for week 1. I would say the most time consuming in week 1 would be the concept summary. The inspiration for your concept summary, I think by now you already have the idea. You already have an idea about what it is that you want to do. When you did the design and layout, right? You're already building it something. Now we just need to verbally be able to say what it is that we want to do. Okay? Any questions so far?
I feel like we wrote a summary in one of our earlier CE classes.
You did.
Can we kind of pull from that and tweak that a little? Or?
I think that is the whole point, right? Is that you have previous, just like your menus that you already made, right? You already made the design, layout, and flow chart in 155. All this, we're all going to use that. The final assignment in this class is actually to take everything that you guys have made in all the core classes, and we're going to put them together into very close to a finished business plan. Okay. So yes, anything you have done, I think you should read it and then re-edit what you think needs to be in there, because there's no doubt that with it now, from initial idea, now we're making that idea realistic as we go along in the classes. So there's undoubtedly stuff you want to change in there, but by all means, yes, work on what you have already and rewrite it.
Okay.
Yes, Mark?
Now, I wanted to say just to them and to Apple, you done this work already, because I remember when I took this class 2 months ago now, when I wrote all these topics, I remember that in CE185, we had already create the menu, we are create the prices, we are create the concept. So your concept, you've got it. If you still go along what you've done so far, you have all the responses of this question in your research you had so far. And in CA 155, if I remember, at the end of the course, the 6 weeks term, you had a spreadsheet to fill for with the average price of your diner, of your lunch, the number of guests that you expected to have each day, and you've done this template for a month, so you have your numbers somehow. And the research that you done on 155 and 185 also have to give you your demographic, because you decide where you wanted to make your restaurants, who was your customer. So basically it's to take all this information together and put it in the template somehow.
Sounds good.
Yeah, the average numbers, you got that in week 4 in CE155.
Yeah.
Week 4, I think it was, yeah. Excellent. Great point, yeah. So basically, this template, make sure that you keep the same template, right? That you work with the same template. And you don't go down, and in the template, do not go down on these tabs and start to fill stuff in out of sequence, because a lot of things will actually auto-calculate from what you put in. So for example, the revenue assumption in this template actually comes from the number that you're putting in now in week 1. The coverage, the average, and then how many days a week, that will generate the revenue assumption on this template. All right? So don't go in and start to put numbers in there. Some of it auto-calculates as we go. Okay? So, and I'm going to give you the access to this template too, Mark, because we did do those, we did do the changes with the standardized recipes and all that stuff in this template.
Yeah.
Template, so it's in there. Cool. So, all right. Any questions on that stuff? All that good jazz on the template and that discussion forum. So that's the assignment and discussion forum, right? So as you all know, discussion forums, right? Initial post Saturday, 11:59 p.m. right? Replies and assignment is due Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. CT. If you submit early, I'm going to do everything I can to go in and grade them and give you comments so you can repost, right? If anybody happens to submit later than Tuesday, 11:59, I want you guys to know that chances are you will not get your grades till the following grading period, right? Which is then Monday, Tuesday, the following week. Okay. We have a lot to do after Tuesday, right? Get the grades in, et cetera, and get everything graded. So they will get in, but it might be the following grading period if you're tardy. All right. Of course, I recommend that everybody looks at the chef's online policies, right? I still think it's worth, even if you've already had them once, it might be worth looking through them one more time. And then as well, the sheet, the PDF that's on there, how do you know you are learning? Basically asking yourself questions, right? To see if you know your knowledge where it came from and how well you know it. All right? So I strongly recommend that you read that one again. The sessions will be posted as soon as I can. Normally we have 24 hours to post them. I try to post them the same night if I can, or they will be live before noon the following day as much as possible. All right. Another thing I wanted to mention to you guys, I'm gonna mute you guys again because we have a lot of feedback coming through. So I'm not sure who it is, but here we go. So just unmute yourself if you have comments, okay? Please feel free to do so. I want to point out again about the attendance. So you guys might know or might not know, but 14 days of not logging in on the current week, basically you will be considered a drop. It's actually it's the law here in Colorado, how that works. We are lucky that in Colorado it's 14 days. In Texas, where we have our other campus, it's actually 3 days, believe it or not. So we're kind of fortunate that we have a little bit more leeway up here. But nevertheless, you all know that you really should go on the portal, if not every day. All right. The expectations are still 6 hours per week per class that you're taking. That is the if you look at the syllabus, that's what the school is requiring. I know that some weeks that might sound like a lot of time to spend on there. If you think that you are spending less time than that, I recommend that maybe you can open up a Google Doc and start to scribble some stuff down for the next discussion forum. I do consider that if you guys spend time Googling and researching the intraweb and do research for school, I consider that within the 6 hours. Of course, that's not on the portal, and I have no way of knowing what you've been doing. But just know that school expectations is 6 hours per class per week. All right. And I know you've heard this one till your ears bleed, but early is on time is tardy, right? And late is forgotten, right? This is Chef Luke's mantra. So you've heard this, okay? Extensions should not be requested after 11:59 on Tuesday. They're supposed to be requested prior, because you know something is up. I know that there are exceptions. Let's say a storm comes, the tree comes down, takes your power out late at 8 o'clock, and you have no way of getting in touch with me. But let's put it this way. It doesn't happen that often, okay? So, and it doesn't happen every week on Tuesdays. We all know this, right? If you don't have a computer and you know this on Friday, before Tuesday, chances are you could probably go down to the library and submit something. So if there's a will, there's a way, except for what's called emergencies, and that's why they're called emergencies, and I fully understand those. They happen to all of us, okay? And now here comes a personal request. I would rather somebody tell me, Chef, I drugged my butt, I fell asleep, I didn't get it done, rather than a long story, okay? I prefer honesty. I have a tendency to appreciate that a lot more than when I don't get that. So, it just makes sense, right? What do you guys think? Just, toughen up and tell the truth, right? It's a lot easier to remember afterwards too. All right. As well, talking about attendance. Attendance is only counted in the current week. All right. So if you go back and you do stuff in the previous week, it's not going to count to your attendance. So sometimes we have students, we tell them you haven't logged in, and now you're sort of behind on login on the current week, and they say, well, I logged in 2 days ago and I did this and this. That doesn't count. It has to be current week. Okay. So you got to do some work in the current week, during the current week, every single week. That's how attendance is counted. All right. And last but not least, and I'm sorry if you guys haven't heard this prior to now, but I do get on occasion students ask me about how come I didn't get a grade for my live session. So this is a technical behind the scene portal, how things work. The school has to keep very tight track on what students' activities are. This is required by our accreditors. So it's not an internal policy, it's a policy that we've implemented because it is enforced upon us to do so. We need to know what a student does, where they go, how they post, and all that stuff, and when they do it, and how long they spend on the portal. So the best way for us to do this when it comes to these discussion forums is basically a live session is in the grading report, but it counts as 0 points. But when you are part of it, it does your little checker, right? It gives you a little checker. So then we know how many students are watching the live, and then we know how many students will go on and watch the archives. So it's pretty important to us to see what we get out of our live sessions. So this is how it's set up the way it is. So it is in the grading report, but it doesn't change your grade. If you watch the live session or if you watch the archive, it's not going to make any darn difference on your grades. Of course, the advantage of being online during the live sessions is that you guys can, of course, ask questions and come with input. And it probably looks a little bit more entertaining to see more than just my sad face on this computer screen as well. And this is, of course, why I always encourage you guys, ask questions, right? Ask questions, because I guarantee you might feel, well, I don't know if this is a silly question. I bet you if you have that question, 3 other students or 10 other students in class has the same question. They just didn't dare asking it, okay? So if you have a question, you thought about it for 15, 20 seconds, and you still want to ask it, I bet you somebody else has exactly the same question, okay? So I encourage that, all right? So far, questions? Any questions about the CE225 in general? You guys remember when we met for CE165, you all worried about costing recipes? You remember that? Yeah, going there, I don't know if I can do it, I don't know if I can do it. Well, I will tell you that when we finish this block here, you will be surprised by the amount of work that you guys have actually put into it and that you put together, because at the end of this block will be, as I said earlier, collecting all the work you've done, okay? And now in this class, we're really truthfully putting it into this template, and we're gonna show you if your idea is making money, if it's not, and if it's not, don't worry about it. We can find ways, because just with budgets, we can figure out if you can follow these budgets, you will be profitable, all right? If the numbers you put in are correct, of course, right? It's always an if. And as I've told you guys before, restaurants that don't make it make the same mistakes. And you know one of the mistakes are that they're making? They're not following what we're just going through in these core classes. And you'd be surprised by how many cooks can't even cost a recipe. You will be surprised. All right. So Mark, what is your take? You've done this CE225.
Oh, yeah.
Highlights?
My highlights. No, first you will, and I certainly understood what I had to change in my concept and I changed some bits in my concept, and how to take a look on your menu and your produce and your price, and it will help you at the end to understand more how to deal with your restaurant and your way to manage it. So, and at the end, well, you will see how. I will not tell you what you will do on week 6 of this class, but it will be an eye opener for you. And it's at the end, I will tell that what I've done, I will be able to present it, but I will probably present it differently. My concept, even if my concept will be the same, and but it helps you figure it out. What from the beginning you can be sure of, and what you will probably work on some other things. And I will add also something else. My generation, or my class, or the class before us, we didn't have a chance to get rich to other students because it didn't exist. Now you have. Well, you probably figure out since a month ago you have on a portal just a Windows with Escoffier Elite. So we are here also to help you alongside the instructor. So you can reach to us if you have some question after the live session and you didn't think to ask to instructor. And if you want to get in touch with us with this question, because you think that we are more capable to answer to you rather than the instructor, do it. So we are here for that. So if we can answer, we will do with a great happiness and pleasure to do so. Because, well, we can make some mistakes because we are the first one online on the campus, on the ground. They exist already, but we are some kind of experiments, some monkeys who accepted to do so because the group of instructors thought that we can help. So don't hesitate. Asking question is free. It's really free. And as Chef Jasper said, you don't have any stupid question at this point. It's just stupid for you in your mind because you think that it is. But if you ask yourself this question, it's have some things to do with. So.
Yeah. So the reason that we've done the elite and we have elite students join us is, when it comes to teaching, there are many ways to explain the same subject. And a teacher might have one way of presenting the subject, whereas an elite student that has been in your seat a block or 2 blocks before, they can probably interpret some of the information that we give and forward it to you guys sort of in a different verbiage that maybe sometimes make more sense. This is one of the biggest things about being a teacher altogether is, did my student get it? Right? Because it is 99.9% true that there are no bad students that could be bad or that could be bad teachers, right? I'm not saying that 100% because that'll be on my own, but there's no doubt that a student that is willing deserves to get the knowledge, right? If you work hard and you do everything you can, if you don't get it, then it needs presented in a different way. If you put effort forward, there's absolutely no reason why you should not get it. Does that make sense? So this is one of the ways that we find could be very useful and very helpful. And I know quite a few students that have reached out to Elite and gone, oh, thank you, now I get it, okay? So as much as I like to do one-on-ones, I have had students that I did a one-on-one, then they did a one-on-one with an elite, and then we did another one-on-one, and at that point, they were completely caught up, and I really enjoy it, and I appreciate all the effort that the elite mentors put into it, because it really does help us, and I'm very happy to have Mark here in our live session, because Mark has gone through it. So this is why I sort of pitched the ball to him a little bit about, so what do you think was the highlight? Because he's done it. He's done it as a student, okay? And I think that can be very valuable. So Mark put his email in the chat. I strongly encourage you guys to reach out. There are several elite students out there that are available. Definitely reach out. It's almost a shame you guys are not in CE115, because I can tell you that Mark is actually an architect by trade. So he's pretty useful. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So do you guys have any questions? Lori, do you have any questions? Nope.
Not now.
Any questions? No? Hey, Julio, you got to tell me something, buddy.
Sorry, Chef, I was driving.
Good.
But yes, I know this is the take 2 on this class for me.
Sure.
But do I have to redo the whole thing? I have no problem with that. But if I can keep some information that what I have already in the template, because I must.
So we have made some changes to the template this time around compared to when you were taking it last. But you can copy paste everything you have done and put it into the new one. All right. So, I mean,
just I don't want to do a cheering. I do want to start from the bottom again and keep learning. So I mean, I will do the best I can to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, but what you have done will be useful. We changed as well the standardized costing recipes, et cetera, on the template here as well, so that in the future students can copy paste from the CE125 class. Okay.
Yeah, the thing I want to do right now is to get more involved with the readings, because the readings of the book, before I just flash read it. I couldn't even get the attention 100% and be focused about what I was reading. That's why many things I was confused when I was in the class, and then I was listening up the archives, and I was like, I don't understand.
Okay.
Because that's what I want to be honest. Like you say, be honest. I'm being honest. I haven't read that much of the book, but I would do it this time and get it all together, because I want to be in the same path all the time. And I know with all you guys together, we can be successful and keep moving forward.
That the discussion forums that you posted the first time around were excellent discussion forums. Okay, so I have no doubt about your desire and your drive, but now you're in a different situation where you've freed up your some of your time so you can devote it to the school better. And that's exactly sort of what we ask you guys to do. I was telling this to Julio before we started taping, that, and I don't want to sound like an old broken record, like I don't understand what life is. I know very well that your job that you have while you're in school pays your bills. I understand it fully. I know that the world does have money printed in it, and that's pretty darn important. I will tell you that when you're done with a program in a couple of years, what is really, really going to matter in 2016 is going to be your ISCOPI schooling. All right? That is the one that's going to give you a pay raise down the road. It's the one that might make you an executive chef sooner than you thought, okay? It's ultimately the one that's going to make you probably, give you the best chance of succeeding in what you do in this business in the future, okay? So being tired because you work a lot, I fully understand it. I haven't been a cook for 32 years for nothing, okay? I know what it means to not sleep week after week, month after month. Just know that when you're done with it at the end, you've done yourself a tremendous service. And that's why I applaud what you're doing, because you've decided that, I want this, and so you're going to get it. And I really appreciate you for doing that. That's a big effort. So I'm really looking forward to your participation in this blog. It's a great pleasure for me to have you. And I actually mean it.
Thank you, Chef.
All right. Well, I'll see some of your stuff coming through the Vine Tuesday, No, there's no discussion forum this week. I'll see some Tuesday. All right.
Yes, Chef.
Isn't there discussion this week?
Sorry, what am I?
Wasn't there a discussion forum this week?
Sorry, my computer is freezing.
Oh.
I thought send it out. Sorry, I sent out a message to you guys 2 days ago with the discussion forums when they're at. Sorry. I use my computer obviously here to keep track of what I'm supposed to say, and then when it doesn't keep up with me, then I get cold feet.
But they have the ethic discussion this week.
Yes,
to first
sure.
to on Saturday and responds on Tuesdays.
We just spent a half hour talking about that, right?
Yeah.
About the ethics. Yes, ethics.
Yeah.
Saturday, 11:59 p.m. Central Time. Some days you shouldn't listen to me all the time, okay? Or I could just say, hey, I did this to see if you guys were awake.
Okay, let's be honest.
Oh.
Yeah. Ethics
But-
due Saturday, 11:59, okay? Be creative, okay? Send me something that's fun reading. All right?
Okay, chef.
Okay, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will look forward to your stuff on Saturday. Sounds good?
Okay. Yes, chef.
See you guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye.